India. Now, after 6 weeks of voting, the world's largest election is reaching its conclusion. Early counting in India shows that Narendra Modi is heading for another 5-year term in office. Indian stock indexes and the rupee gained, but are coming off their highs as the BJP looks set to secure a majority. Let's get to Bloomberg's Ian Marlowe, who's in New Delhi and can update us with the latest on the numbers. So these are early results of the election, all being electronically counted in one day. A big democratic effort underway then, Ian. Bring us up to date with the latest numbers.
Yeah, the official numbers from the Election Commission of India show that Modi and his ruling party are winning, leading in about 294 seats, which would put them on track to get another single-party majority. And again, their last single-party majority in 2014 was the first one in 30 years, and they're set to outdo that number here. So it's really a bit of a clean sweep for India's ruling party, and it looks like another 5 years of Modi for India here.
Yeah, what does that mean for the next 5 years then, and Modi's plans?
Yeah, he's defying expectations here. I think a lot of people had pointed to economic slowdown. There'd been a slowdown in consumer spending. There'd been a lot of problems with farmers coming out in the streets and protesting over farm prices and those sorts of things. So there was a lot of things for people to complain about. But I think for Modi, this just he has this sort of gut appeal to a lot of people in India. They think he's not corrupt like some past Indian leaders. They think he's working tirelessly for the nation. And even if some of his reforms and policies haven't gone exactly according to plan, exactly how economists would have liked them to have been rolled out, people still think he's working on behalf of the average Indian. And even if they're suffering some hardship, they don't necessarily apply that to him and say it's his fault, because some of those things are residual issues in India that have been around for quite a long time.
Ian, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us. Bloomberg's Ian Marlowe there in New Delhi with the latest on the election results. Esther Law is investment manager of emerging markets debt and Amundi Asset Management and joins us now here on set in London to look at India from an investor's perspective. Esther, very good to have you with us then this morning. Let me ask you then, from an international investor's perspective, how attractive does India look to you right now?
I think it's certainly a relief to see the election result today. It has been, on the fixed income side, relatively attractive given the positive real yield. And I would say relatively dovish central bank. Inflation has been fairly well anchored. In terms of the currency, I think it's a very well-known story that's very much driven by oil as well as the monsoon. So far, both have been relatively well behaved for India.
And I know your focus is on fixed income, but in terms of the excitement around Indian assets, I wonder how much that has already been done. I've got a chart here that shows how foreign funds poured into Indian stocks in the first quarter of this year, sort of in the anticipation of the election. Is there a sense that maybe the immediate positives in the Indian story are already priced in?
I would say a fair amount is already priced in. However, I think many investors, both local and offshore, have been held back waiting for exactly the election results today. And I have to say, the fact that it came quite closely to the exit polls is a very comfortable result for us.
I read the comments by somebody at Ocean Dial Asset Management who was saying that India is underinvested given the size of the economy, that it's just not big enough on international investors' radars. Do you think maybe this election gives enough comfort to change that for some investors, to put it on their radar?
I think for fixed income side, one aspect we have is that it's still not in the global fixed income, the local currency bond index yet. So that may result in a bit of, I would say, under-allocated in the Indian bond market. But having said that, given this result and given the local bond market is slowly becoming more liquid, I do see more potential for more allocation into the bond market.
Modi is popular with risk assets. He's not popular with everybody in India. And Ian Marlowe was talking about there some of the protest activity that are taking place over the past 5 years. As we look ahead to the next 5, how much do you think he'll be able to really get done in terms of land reform, labour reform, all of those on his to-do list?
I think it's a very tricky to call, but again, it's reassuring to see that his party actually gained quite a lot, almost towards the absolute majority. So I have hope that there will be more being done in the reforms, but we all understand the difficulty that may involve.
Okay, Esther, thank you very much. Thanks for giving us your insights. Esther Law, Investment Manager of Emerging Markets Debt at Amundi Asset Management. Let's get your top stock stories then this morning.